What is up? How's everybody doing? I feel so out of practice with this. Let me get a sound check. Can everybody hear me okay? Before I get started. Let me see here. I need to turn this on. I definitely need to turn this on. And I wanted to show this. Raymond Linares has a brother. So are we admiring the beard game that I've got going on here? Oh my goodness. All right. So it sounds like everybody can hear me. It looks like things are working. I do need to, God, I am so out of practice with this. I'm sorry, but just a moment. I almost didn't go live tonight. I really did. I really did. Because about 30 minutes ago, I got off of work. And I've been putting this off and putting this off and putting this off because I'm pretty sure some of y'all might have been wondering, where the heck have I been? Oh, it does look like my Streamlabs bot is on. Okay, good. I wasn't sure about that. Good. All right, so all that looks good. Oh, holy crap. Tony Sinclair, thank you so much for watching from Green Bay. Good to see you. Todd, good to see you in the house here. Can everybody also let me know, does the stream appear to be running smoothly? Because I'm seeing on my end where it looks like I have a little lag where my stream appears to buffer for like a second or two. But my OBS software is showing that I have no dropped frames. So I do want to believe that is true. And hopefully everything's okay. Okay, good. S3204, thank you so much. James Brinson, so you are saying that there are some dropped frames. I don't understand. Ron says it looks fine. Says it's freezing a bit, but it seems fine. But the sound has been good. Okay, I'm definitely going to have to look into that then. I don't know. Right at this moment, I don't know what could be causing that. Okay, so I definitely wanted to go live tonight because I've been putting this off long enough. And yeah, there it went. I saw that it just kind of froze up again. And let me see if it's going to freeze up on stream. Yep, and it did. Okay, let's see if I can fix that. Golly, this is so annoying. Actually, let's see if I can change this to 5. Actually, you know what? I'm watching it do that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to switch this to 8 and see if that helps. Okay, let's see if that helps, and maybe it'll be a little bit more stable and hopefully less laggy. I'm not entirely sure. Nope, never mind. Still isn't working. And I don't know what's causing it. So at any rate, I wanted to go live because I've put this off long enough to let everybody know where I've been at and what have I been doing. Well, for those that have been able to see some of the stuff that I've posted this year with my new table at my new home, like when I've done some exhibition matches with me and some buddies commentating. I've done a couple of how to run out certain patterns. And I think I've posted like maybe 1 or 2 videos besides that. And in between of all of that, I've also tried to play some straight pool live streams. But in between all of that, I've discussed in the past about how difficult my table has been to where certain shots just don't appear to, want to fall in, especially going towards the corner pockets. I eventually found out why. And what it turned out to be was that the cloth that was on the rails was apparently pulled a little too tight. And what I mean by that is the facings of my corner pockets, generally speaking, are supposed to be 141 degrees going out. And because the rail cloth was pulled too tight, it ends up compressing both of the facings on both sides of the rails. And when the facings compress, it opens the angle up a little bit to where instead of it being around 141, it ends up being about 142 and a half. And that's where the difficulty was coming from, because what I had learned is that I was told to take a ruler and place it up against the facing of the pocket. And if I look close enough, if I start from the throat of the pocket and move my way out to the point, if I look close enough, I should see that there's going to be a space that starts to appear between the ruler and the facing of the pocket as you approach the points of the pocket. And that turned out to be true. And so what that basically meant was the reason why the balls would, my pool balls would basically bobble on certain shots is because I'm hitting the part of the facing that's kind of bent a little bit, which would basically cause the object balls to ricochet from side to side as opposed to ricocheting their way into the pocket. Once I finally got the rail cloth changed, and that was also when I got the entire bed of the table changed. OBS preview freezes. I'm going to see if I can fix this on the fly while I'm talking to everybody. Once I got everything changed, like the moment the rail cloth was cut off, I went ahead and measured the angles of the facing. And lo and behold, it changed from 142 and a half to 141 and a half. And when I had done that and put new cloth on, the pockets were a little bit more forgiving. They're still tough, but they are a little bit more forgiving. And golly, I hate the fact that my stream just keeps on lagging. Or I guess it's not lagging, but it just keeps on freezing. And I don't know how to fix that. So once I saw that my pockets were a little bit more forgiving, I was certainly happy about that. But then shortly after everything was reclothed and redone, I started noticing that when the balls would roll over the seams of the slates, you would hear some sort of knocking sound. And it's a sound that I'm very familiar with because it basically happened day one since I had the table installed by the original installers. And that is where since my table is installed upstairs, I have a 3-piece slate table. And so whenever you hear balls rolling across the table and you hear a knocking sound, that's because the seams of the slates are actually uneven. And so even though I had the table reclothed, when everything got put back together, somehow the slates became unevened. So of course, I do some research, and then I call some table mechanics and stuff to try to get this all fixed, and nobody seems to know how to fix it. And so now to the point to where I have an unleveled table. I also have my table is, like I said, the seams of the slate are also uneven. So when you can hear balls roll across them, and that's why I haven't done anything, because after I've had the table for less than 2 years, and I must have had already 3 different mechanics take a look at it. And after shelving out the amount of money that I've had to shelve out to have it fixed and everything else, I've decided that I'm going to have to start learning how to do this stuff myself. And the only thing that I have left to do, which I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see here soon in a couple of weeks, because I'll video record it and everything else, I'm actually flying in a professional that's going to take a look at my table and hopefully be able to fix everything. And then, of course, teach me the things that I need to know in order to be able to maintain my table myself, and basically save me a lot of money every year whenever I need to try to change the cloth or fix it when it gets unleveled, etc., etc. So that's the long and short of what's been going on. I have an unleveled table. It's playable. I still shoot on it. It's just that knowing that it's unleveled, that there are certain areas of the table that if I attempt to shoot soft, the table's going to grab the ball and probably pull the ball away from the pocket, or just do something funky. And especially if a ball attempts to roll along the seams of the slate, it's going to do like an internal masse or something. And it is so frustrating to have to deal with all of this, to the point to where it's like, yeah, that's why I haven't been wanting to post anything. I haven't tried making any videos, because Lord knows whether or not if I try to make a video on an unleveled table, if it just if certain things, certain balls roll off at certain times or whatever. So it's just like, I can't deal with it anymore. So at the very least, I wanted to be able to go live and talk about this because, like I said, I am eventually learning how to do all this stuff myself. I've been buying all the equipment. I've got extra cloth on hand now, which I'm probably going to be buying more here in the future. And the reason why I have extra cloth is because when I do attempt to do this myself, if I mess up the cloth, I definitely have to have spares on hand. I have been researching all the equipment as far as staple guns, adhesives, tools that you need to be able to take the rails apart and adjust the table, everything. And I've got just about everything on hand. The only thing I'm currently missing right now is the adhesive, because I did learn that especially with diamond tables, that you can actually just glue the cloth down onto the slate of the table. You don't have to staple them, though stapling is still an option. But when I saw these videos where mechanics were gluing these tables down, they just look so clean and so sleek. And that's definitely something that I wanted to learn how to do. Ramanuj, yes, I have seen Average Joe's Pool's videos. Those are some of the videos that I've been watching and studying. I've been also studying the videos from Diamond Billiards themselves. I've also been studying some videos from the Real King Cobra on YouTube. And I've also been studying videos from TableFitters.com. And you can actually find them on Facebook as well, TableFitters. TABLE, FITTERS, which reminds me, let me just go ahead and put that. They're on Facebook and they're on YouTube, and I believe they're on TikTok, or he actually. And TableFitters is who I'm flying out here. He's from Idaho. I've actually video called him and have tried to have him help me walk through, try to fix my table without having him come down or without having to pay for a mechanic and without having to remove the cloth at the time when I found out that the slates were basically uneven. But we got to a point to where we couldn't manage it anymore. And I eventually just requested, like, what does it take to fly you down here? Because, one, do you travel? And the answer was yes. So I was like, cool, then let me, I'm impressed with your work that I've seen on your social medias. Let me fly you down here for a day or two. I'll help you advertise your business because we'll record everything when he's taking the table apart, as far as taking the rails off, taking the cloth off. We're not disassembling the table in its entirety, just enough to be able to change the cloth, potentially change the rail cloth, and then make sure that the table is leveled, reline up the seams and all of that. So that way I have it all documented as well. It'll be a video that I'll hopefully get to publish if it turns out the way that I would like. And that way it's always something that I can reference to be able to, like I said, fix the table myself. And then, of course, when I do attempt to change the cloth myself, that's probably going to be a live stream where I can chit chat with everybody while I'm doing it. Or, just maybe some sort of video. But when is that going to happen? Well, it's not going to happen until what? Next Friday. Not this coming Friday, but I mean next Friday. He's flying in next Thursday, working on my table Friday, April 3rd, and then flying home April 4th. So about another week and a half of frustration that I have to deal with, and then hopefully never have to deal with this ever again. And then after that, I can hopefully finally start getting back to publishing some content, doing some more live streams, doing some more exhibition matches, etc., etc. And so, yeah, that's what's been going on. Let me see here. I'm trying to watch the chat here. And here I was wondering whether or not if I was going to shoot a little bit, even though my table is unleveled. But considering that I keep getting these areas where the whole video will just freeze, even though I don't have a single dropped frame. And y'all are telling me that when it does freeze up, you can still hear the audio just fine. So that's very frustrating to see. So in the meantime, what have I been doing? Well, there has been a couple of things I've been doing. One, I finally got my internet upgraded. I have fiber. Ooh, okay. I just saw a little error message that might help me here. Let's see here. Give me just a moment. This certainly doesn't help me here. I just saw an error. I just saw a message that basically said what I could do to possibly help improve the stream. There we go. Consider turning down video settings or use faster encoding presets. What the heck does that mean? Faster encoding presets. I have no idea what that means. We're going to try this and we're going to see what happens. And then eventually I got to study a little bit more to figure out how to make this a little bit better. All right, I just changed something. We'll see if it eventually helps. All right, I see some questions or whatever that keeps coming in. Let's see. See, Marshall, you get it? It's very frustrating. You said try to look on the bright side of things. Yeah, the bright side of things is that hopefully this nightmare is going to end here soon, right? Like I said, about another week and a half, hopefully this nightmare is going to end. Well, Wayne, you still haven't come over and at least see the setup, man. It'd be great to see you. You know, I have been over to Charlie's from time to time, and every time I've been there, I haven't seen you in there. What days do you go in there and play? Steve Kurtz, who's doing the work? Like I said, it's going to be a gentleman by the name of Zach. He's from TableFitters.com. And if you look up on Facebook, YouTube, and I believe TikTok, that is their handle as well, TableFitters. Like I said, it was his videos and stuff that I saw because he posts a lot of shorts or TikToks or, you know, Facebook Reels, whatever you want to call them, of the work that he does. And it looks great. I mean, it was enough to impress me. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the quality of his work. And then, like I said, hopefully after that, I'll be able to help out, or I'll be able to do this stuff myself. We'll just have to wait and see. But apparently, whatever I did didn't help. I can still see that the video is the preview video is failing or locking up every now and again. Todd, you're asking how's the foot? That would be my right ankle. He's been following me enough to know that I had ankle surgery a little over a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago, and it's fine. My right ankle is fine. I am starting to get a little concerned about my left ankle, though. There's been times where it gets a little difficult to walk on it, but it doesn't last very long. But when it gets difficult to walk on my left ankle, I do get a little worried, right? And so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see how things go about. Oh, goodness gracious here. Okay. So, oh, what else have I been doing? Well, I can at least show you this. Let me switch to this. And what I want to show you is this. Wait, why is the camera not moving? There we go. So do you see that right there? I have moved my ICA projection training system a whole lot closer to the table. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and turn it on for y'all so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to go out there. So hopefully y'all can hear me out here as well. But let me turn on the projection system. With it being so much closer now, hopefully the quality of the picture that you're about to see is so much better. Matter of fact, let me do one quick thing. I want to actually do this. All right, so give everything a minute to boot up. And then hopefully you'll be able to see how much better the picture is going to be. I don't know if even like how well y'all can see this stuff. That's from there you go. Like there's all of that. But oh, I gotta recalibrate my table or the system here. Give me just a moment there. It looks like it's a little off. But hopefully y'all can see all of this. And I don't have to dim the lights at all. So what I'm doing right now is just recalibrating the system because the lighting has gotten a little off. Basically what happens is that when it's attached to the ceiling there, anytime if there's any like sudden vibration or there's construction going on in my neighborhood right now, and if there's any type of vibration in the house, it could cause the lighting to shift a little bit. And there we go. That looks a little bit better because it all lines up with what I'm doing. But here's the ICA training system. If I want to, I can load up a drill for everybody to see. So let me come back into the office. I want to see how this looks to everybody. Okay, well, it looks like the above table looks okay. And then the main view is a little dim there, but I can dim the lights a little bit, and then the stuff would actually look a little bit better. So, for example, if I wanted to switch to this, to where it's just the overhead view, then you can clearly see like what the system looks like. All right, so this is how to shoot a particular shot using 1 o'clock spin on the cue ball, which is going to be what, top right spin. And if I go down, whoops, go this way. Here's for 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, etc., etc., etc. And so given that I have it to where we can see it, and if I want to, I can just dim this just a little bit. And so that way the picture comes out a whole lot clearer. And so when I got the advice to move the ICA training system closer to my table and have a much better picture on my table, then I was like, okay, well then that's a clear sign that I eventually need to start posting some more stuff using my ICA training system, and then of course promote my my discount code that I have for it. So yeah, there's at least that. And that's at least the long and short of stuff that I've been working on. So 337 Trent, they are consistent all around because there was a point in time where everything was fixed. This was so let me try to just summarize basically what happened. And that is when the table got installed by the original installers from the company that I bought it from. That's when I first experienced the slate seams being unleveled. Now, I ended up being their last customer because they were getting out of the billiard industry. Well, before they finally got out of the billiard industry, I had them come back and fix everything because right after they installed it, I didn't really get a chance to play on it and test on it because I had some friends over at the time and we were all going to go out to dinner. And so when I finally came home and started playing on it and stuff, that's when I started finding the defects of the slate seams are unleveled. You can hear balls roll across the seams and stuff. And so they eventually came back and tried their best to fix everything. And they thought they got it to a point to where maybe it was fixed. Well, the house itself was almost a year old at the time. So the house is still settling. And so over the course of time, after it got fixed first, it eventually started becoming unleveled again, and then you could start hearing it again. Well, now I'm at a point where I can't call the original installers because they're no longer in the industry. So I have to find a local mechanic, and I find one. And they were able to fix everything, and I'm pretty sure what this other guy is going to end up doing is what I saw these guys do. And that is they did some stuff to where they basically kind of semi-glued the slate pieces together. And that at least solved that for like the longest time. That's when you started seeing those exhibition matches and stuff. But when I had them do that, all they did was they changed the bed of the cloth. I didn't have them touch the rails. And so when they fixed the bed of the table, the slate of the table, that's when I started noticing how difficult the pockets were. And so when the table was finally a year old, I was like, okay, it's time to change everything, which is the cloth, the rails, etc. Well, that second crew that I had hired, when I tried calling them back saying, hey, it's time to, do everything. Can you also check this? Can you check this? Just basically giving them a work request. But they responded back that they no longer work on diamond tables. So I'm like, well, crap, what am I supposed to do? So I do end up finding another mechanic. And that's where I was able to eventually find out that when the rail cloth got changed, that my pockets basically improved themselves because the rail cloth being pulled too tight compressed the facings, causing them to be wider than they were supposed to be. But the unfortunate part was after this third mechanic was done, the slates, the seams of the slate became uneven again. And after that, it's just been hell. I did have a buddy of mine come over, and we did our best to try to fix the seams of the slates. And it worked, kind of. And that's when I had learned another thing, because when we fixed the seams of the slate and he had to leave, I put the rails back on, and then me not knowing anything about, table mechanics and stuff, when I bolted the rails back down, I bolted them too tight. And what ended up happening is that when I bolted them too tight, because I was just using a drill to put the bolts in, the slates of the seams became uneven again. And so interestingly enough, that's what I narrowed it down to. Now, eventually my friend did come back over, and we tried to fix it again. But when we did get him fixed, the table was now completely unleveled at that point. And that's when I pretty much gave up. So like the table that you just saw out there, the seams of the slates are uneven and the table's not even leveled. And so I don't even want to mess with that anymore until I see an actual professional that does this for a living messes with it. And like I said, that's what I'm going to document. And that'll be a video that I get to present to everybody. All right, Steve Kurtz, you're asking what cam and streaming software that I'm using. Until I figure out why my video preview is lagging, that's probably just something I have to configure. But I am using OBS Studio. It's a free open source program, very popular, very wide known by a lot of streamers, whether they're on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. It doesn't matter. It's a free software that is widely used everywhere. There are other ones that are out there that are also free, but I just don't believe they're as good as this one is, because you have an entire community of programmers that develop plugins to this that just grant you all kinds of power. Now, there are other types of streaming software, depending upon how non-technological you are, that might be able to suit your needs as well. But me being a software developer and the types of stuff that I have going on in my streams, I eventually learned how to do all this stuff and use all of the plugins and stuff that I would want to have as well. And then, so you're asking about my cameras. So this one right here, that is my face cam here, is a Osbot. I believe it's an Osbot Tiny. So it's just a webcam, USB webcam. But the main camera that you saw out there that looks at the table, that's what's called a PTZ camera, pan, tilt, and zoom camera, and it's powered over Ethernet. And it also works over a software called NDI, which I believe stands for network device, or what does it stand for? Geez. NDI. Okay, it doesn't. What? does NDI mean? That's what I thought. Network device interface. So basically, it's a camera that can work over a network, right? So I do have an internal network in my house where I've got Ethernet cables, switches, and routers and stuff to where I can be able to access the cameras. Now, the overview camera that provides me that aerial view, though, that is another USB camera, because in a standard home like this one, ceilings are typically only 8 feet high. And I had to find a camera that had a wide enough field of view that would actually be able to capture the entire table. And the field of view has to be 120 degrees. Most cameras for like webcams and stuff, they only capture about 90 degrees in a field of view, which is a smaller view. So like a Logitech Brio, for example, when I tried sticking it up there on the ceiling, it would not be able to capture the entire table. So I have a total of 3 cameras right now. I've got this one here for whenever I'm in my office so that I can talk to y'all. I've got the main camera, which is the brand name is called Fomako, F-O-M-A-K-O. And like I said, I have an Ethernet cable that comes from that room into this office and plugs into a switch that my computer is also plugged into that grants me the ability to control the camera, like you saw, where I panned over to the ICA Training system and my projector and then zoomed in. And then the extra USB camera, which is a Nexigo, N-E-X-I-G-O. That one has a 120 degree field of view and can sit directly above my table and capture the entire, and it barely captures the entire table. I have very little wiggle room with where I mounted that camera above my table. Todd, I'm making you love your singles valley table. I mean, I get it, but so here's the thing, right? I've had a 3-piece slate table before. My 8-foot table that I had at my old home was a 3-piece slate table, but it was installed in my garage on concrete that never really had to move, right? So having a 9-foot table, 3-piece slate table installed upstairs on a wooden floor, there's been a bit of a learning curve, and but I'm slowly but surely learning all the tricks of the trade, and like I said, eventually maybe I can actually just make some videos and so everybody can learn how to do this stuff themselves, because hiring table mechanics is not cheap by any means. Like I said, the table is less than 2 years old, and I think I'm about $2,000 deep in getting things fixed. And like I said, first it was fixing the first time the tables, the slates of the seams became uneven, changing the cloth, changing the rail and the cloth, and the story goes on and on. Steve, no problem. I'm always happy to help. There's plenty of other streamers that I always talk to. Matter of fact, your name looks familiar because if you know Shortstop on Pool, Bob Keller, I do believe I've seen you comment on the Straight Pool Fanatics Facebook page. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me, and I can certainly give you a hand on anything that you might be doing there. Let's see here. All right. Well, considering that my stream is still or the video feed keeps gently stopping for a second, like it just did right now, even though the audio is working just fine. Like I said, I'm not seeing any dropped frames though. But there's probably something that I have to configure in my OBS software, which makes me wonder, one, I just updated OBS. So I don't know if this is the update causing it or if it's my new internet service provider, because now that I've got fiber in here, I've got plenty of speed that I can deal with. And so I probably need to reconfigure how my OBS software works when I'm doing live streams, because my last internet service provider, which was crappy as hell, I had to significantly reduce the speed of the stream that I would do when I had them. Now that I'm on a much better internet service provider with fiber, I could probably increase the quality and increase the speed of the stream, but now I got to do research on what the settings have to be. So hopefully next time when I do happen to go live, or if I'm shooting, all these little intermittent freezes that you're currently seeing, they won't happen anymore. So that'll be a bit of a learning curve. See, I thought so, Steve. So yeah, just feel free to reach out to me. I do believe I've posted a couple of times in that page, or at least I can find you and I can reach out to you as well, and then we can certainly talk, and I can give you any type of advice that I have, because eventually, once I get all this stuff squared away and everything's looking good, I am going to put another camera in there. I'm going to put a side view camera, because that's what I used to have at my old setup. I had a main camera looking down the table like I currently have. I had a side view camera, and I had an aerial view camera. And so, but these cameras that I buy, they're not cheap. So I can't just run out and get them willy nilly. And then of course with these cameras being working over a network, I have cables that I have to cut myself, because they're just blank cables. I have to put connectors on them and everything else, and then basically measure them out to be the perfect length of where the next camera is going to be, where the next camera is going to be installed, and then get everything plugged up, and then start running a whole bunch of tests as well. And then, like I said, once the table is fixed, though, then we'll just be back in business. So that is the long and short of what I've been doing. I've still been playing pool, though. I still play on that table, even though it's crooked. I played in a sparring match on the Skinny Bob's channel, YouTube channel, because they're using Evo Sports to where the cameras that they have in there, if customers want to come in and stream their matches, they don't have to bring their own equipment. They can just request to use the Evo Sports equipment within the facility. And if you go and watch that match, you get to watch me get my butt kicked for 3 sets. Because on top of this nightmare that I've been dealing with my home table, I also haven't been playing very good lately here either. And if you remember at the very beginning of the stream, when I started about like 8:15-ish or so, I told you that I just recently got off of work. And that's the other thing too. Work has been crazy for me. Ever since I got promoted to a higher role, I've had a lot more responsibilities, and I spend a lot more time doing work. And when I get off of work, I'm just exhausted after that. And speaking of which, let me see. Yep. Here's my workstation, because I also work from home, right? Like all this. And that's why it's all off right now. But even though I'm not really doing anything, I'm glad to see that I currently have like 48 of y'all basically listening to me rant and hear and watch this not so good quality stream that keeps freezing every now and again. Like I said, hopefully I'll get that fixed here soon. But I'm not going to be, like I said, I'm not going to stay live very much longer. I will take a moment now to answer any questions. If anybody wants to have some or have any. And I see, Todd, I just see you asked me about, you're asking about League of My Game. And yep, I just talked about that. 337 Trent, you're hosting a handicap straight pool tournament this coming Sunday. Are you going to stream it anywhere? That'd be cool to watch. I always love watching pool as well as playing pool. Let's see here. Don't really see anything else. And like I said, as far as the video freezing every now and again, I have to figure out how to fix that, because I have to stream after I change all the settings to see if I fixed everything. So I don't know if I'm going to do public streams or just do a private stream just to make sure that I actually fixed that stuff. But like I said, I definitely wanted to go live, let everybody know that I'm fine. Everything's okay. It's just that I've got a terrible table right now, and I've been able to, at one point where I thought I had it fixed, but I unfortunately ruined it myself when I put the rails back on too tight. After my buddy helped me fix it, and then when I went back and looked at some old videos that I have, I basically confirmed that was the problem. Putting the rails on too tight can cause the slates to become uneven. Because I have it when the table, I have video of when the table was originally installed, and I have video of when I had the entire table redone, and the same exact mistakes were made. And so when it comes to how do I avoid not putting the rails on too tight next time, well, I was told by TableFitters.com, as well as another, the Real King Cobra, that I'm only supposed to use, like, I think it's called 15 foot-pounds of torque. And so I actually bought a torque wrench where I can calibrate 15 foot-pounds. And so as I'm turning the bolt, when I hit that 15 pounds of torque, the torque wrench will click, and I stop turning at that point and move on to the other bolt. So that way I know that I do not end up bolting the rails down too tight ever again. And so that's what I'm saying, that between learning about the facings of my pockets, the slates coming uneven, and changing the cloth and everything else, I am fully committed to learning all of this stuff. And with all the equipment that I'm buying, hell, I may eventually do a video where I show you all the equipment that I bought. I've a freaking blowtorch with beeswax, like I said, a staple gun, an air compressor for the staple, because I went ahead and bought an air compressed staple gun, not an electric one. I've got, like I said, extra cloth, clamps to be able to hold the cloth and stretch it. Formulas on how you're supposed to properly stretch the cloth, because I remember when I posted an old video where my 8-foot table got recloth, people were commenting about did we use the correct stretch index. I had no clue what the heck they were talking about when they made that comment. I know what they're talking about now when they're talking about stretch index. So I've learned all of that stuff, and it's been educational. Let's just say that. Yep, 337 Trent. Make sure the torque wrench is matched to be 15 foot-pounds in its mid-range. Yep, that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. Oh, and you're going to stream it. Put in the chat. Like, I mean, is there a channel or a Facebook, or go ahead and put it here in the chat. So that way you can have some advertisements, so people from my stream here can come watch your stream. Hopefully it doesn't get blocked. Or maybe don't put a link, like put the name of the channel or the name of the Facebook page. Don't put an actual link, because then I think you'll that'll get blocked, because only I'm allowed to post links in my chat. That and my moderators. Me and my moderators are the only ones allowed to post links. Okay. Wow, that was a pretty quick hour. And you get to hear about the tales of the horrors that I've had on my diamond table here. That's barely 2 years old. And to be fair, because I don't want it to make it sound like a diamond table is a bad table, because that is certainly is not the case. It is just unfortunate that because of the change of environments that I've had from having an 8-foot diamond 3-piece diamond table installed in my garage on concrete, to now having a 9-foot table 3-piece slate installed upstairs on a wooden floor. You know, I did not know and realize that there was going to be that much of a difference and that much of a learning curve to know exactly what has to be done. Because if I had a 1-piece slate table, I wouldn't have any of these problems whatsoever. But who the heck is going to carry a one-piece slate table up a flight of stairs? Not going to happen, right? That's why when you have a table installed upstairs, it must be a 3-piece slate table, so that way each individual piece can be carried upstairs. And then lo and behold, there's just some things that I never knew about, and apparently some of the mechanics that have worked on my table never knew about either. That can basically cause the slate pieces to be unleveled. And like I said, within about a week and a half, it'll all be fixed, and then I'll be back in business. So Glenn Thomas, I guess you must be coming in a little late. The nothing is dialed in. My table is still unleveled, as well as the seams are also unleveled. But those won't finally get fixed until April. April 3rd, because that's when I'm flying in a professional, and I'm going to record all of his work to help him advertise his business and stuff. And that way I have it documented on how to fix this stuff myself if in the event it happens again. And then I'll be able to also know how to change the cloth, because I know how to take the rails off and I know how to take the cloth off and everything else. I have just never personally tried to put rail cloth and the cloth on the slate of the table myself. That hopefully won't have to be done again until 2027. But in the meantime, I've already studied every video on how to do it. And as long as the table doesn't become unleveled again, if I happen to mess up reclothing the table, I have a couple of friends that I can call that can help me, learn from my mistakes. Because every time I've tried to do something for myself, I do tend to mess up, and I learn from those mistakes, and then that way I end up doing things better and better. Like hanging up that projector closer to my table. I can't begin to tell you how many times I messed up doing certain measurements to make sure that it's actually high enough, tilted at a certain angle to make sure that I'm covering the entire table, and that I'm able to fit the cords behind the projector and plug them all in. Right, there was a couple of go-arounds until I finally got it perfectly done the way that it is. And so you'll get to see more of the ICA training system here soon, which, by the way, that's what you always see going on up here in the upper left-hand corner of my stream, which are all my sponsors, which I always have to give a great, huge thank you and shout out that they continue to support me, considering that all the difficulties that I've had. And then, of course, being a working man. Like, there was a point in time where I had enough free time where I made videos once or twice a week. And I live streamed almost every week. And now I'm so busy, I just can't do that anymore, because this has always been a hobby for me. And what can I say? Like, it's a hobby that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and it does kind of suck that I don't have enough free time to publish as much as I've done in the past. Steve Kurtz, you're asking, can you staple a diamond? And the answer is yes, so long as under the slate there is the wood framing that the slate sits on is exposed to where you can actually stretch the cloth to actually staple them in. So the cloth that's actually out there right now is stapled down. And I do believe before that cloth, the cloth was glued down before that one. But this go around on April 3rd, there'll be new cloth back on the table, and it'll be glued down. So that way it'll have the perfect stretch, and then everything else will be fine after that. Marshall, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And that is the best part, Glenn Thomas, is knowing how to do things myself. Because, don't get me wrong, like I'm always favored to want to support local businesses. But when local businesses end up messing up, I mean, and it's okay to mess up. as long as you claim the mistake and then of course fix the mistake. But that didn't happen this time, and so that's why I want to learn how to do it myself instead of supporting a local business. And then who knows, maybe I can become a local business myself. I've learned how to change tips myself because I have my own lathe. Hell, a buddy of mine purchased a lathe for, himself, and he's starting to learn how to make his own cues. Right, and this was a buddy of mine that I got into playing pool, and so. And so between learning how to change tips myself with my lathe, now with the equipment that I've purchased and stuff, I'll eventually learn how to maintain my own table and change the cloth and do everything else. The diamonds you have at your room can't be stapled. Are they Pro-Am or are they professional? Because I would wonder the type of frame that the slate sits on that actually prevents you from stapling them. But don't get me wrong, I would rather have my cloth glued because I just think it looks like for me personally, I think it just looks like the work just seems so much cleaner. And then of course, if it's stretched appropriately, then of course it'll last a whole lot longer. So I totally understand that. But okay, everybody, I'm pretty much at a point to where I'm rambling, and I can't believe I've already been streaming for an hour just talking about all this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and sign off so that way I can study why the stream has been intermittently freezing, but the audio has been just fine. And my OBS software is telling me I have 0 dropped frames. So there's got to be some sort of setting that I got to figure out on how to smoothen this all out. But all I can say to everybody is stay tuned, stay in touch, and I will be back shortly with more videos, more live streams, more collabs, you name it, we've got it. And speaking of which, before I go, let me see here, because I want to send y'all somewhere. Because I do believe Shortstop on Pool is online playing straight pool. And so I want to send y'all over there the moment I stop live streaming. Give me just a moment to set this up. Be sure to let them know in the chat where you're coming from. Let me see here. How do I do this? Add stream marker, nope. Create a highlight video, nope. Share, nope. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to end the stream just yet. Stream settings, maybe that's what I'm looking for. And then I want to edit this. It's going to be something to where like the moment I end my stream, it'll send you straight over there. That's what I'm looking to set up. Give me just a moment. That's not it. Customization. Redirect. There we go. Let's do an ad. Search other videos and channels. Yep, we want to redirect to this one here. All right, so we're going to save that. Okay, so at this point in time, like I said, I want to thank everybody. Like severely. As much as I miss producing content, I also want to make sure that I provide quality content. And I just don't think I can do that right now, considering that I have software that basically freezes on me every now and again, and I have a table that's unleveled. But like I said, in about a week and a half time, everything will be fixed. And then I'll be back in business. So, from myself to all of you out there, thank you so much for listening to this 1 hour rant. And I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, but stick around because you should be automatically redirected to Shortstop on Pool and watching him play straight pool. So be sure to let him know that I sent him over to y'all. Take care and have a good night.